those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Testimonial Monday, and our topic for today is, if he did it before, he can do it again. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, I talked about cancer, a blessing or a curse. Head on over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio. Stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is coming from Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to those that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Amen. And your trending topic for today is the Biden administration is providing $600 million in funding to produce new at-home COVID-19 tests and restart the website, allowing Americans to again order up to 4 tests per household, aiming to prevent possible shortage during a rise in the coronavirus cases that typically happen during the colder months. The Department of Health and Human Services say that orders can be placed on covidtest.gov starting today at no cost and will be delivered via the United States Postal Service. 12 manufacturers that employ hundreds of employees in 7 states have been awarded funding and will produce 200 million over-the-counter tests to replenish federal stockpiles for government use, in addition to producing enough tests to meet the demands for those tests ordered online. Federal officials say this will help guard against supply chains issues that spark some shortage of at-home COVID tests made overseas during the last surge of the coronavirus cases. Don O'Connell, the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, said that the website will remain functional to receive orders through the holidays, and they reserve the right to keep it open as long as they see an increase in cases. That is your trending topic for today. We are so grateful for our sponsor. On today, we have Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emanuel Church of God in Christ, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel COGIC at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel COGIC-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
I am so grateful for my special guest on today. She is a singer, songwriter, actress, author, survivor, and philanthropist, and so much more. She is sharing real life experiences that have attempted to distract her from her purpose, but she keeps on rising like a phoenix while trusting in God. Help me welcome to Warriors Talk, who is no stranger to Warriors Talk, Tracy Kincaide. Hey, Tracy.
Hello, Lady ReShell.
How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited about the show today. I know you have so many things going on that you want to share and that you need to share because people need to hear the information. They need to be whole, they need to be educated. And as we always say, move away from awareness towards taking action. So I know you're going to give some action items on today.
Absolutely, ReShell. Absolutely. I'm loaded. I am so loaded today. I never ever thought in a million years that I would be this excited about sharing information. It's so vitally important that we don't hold back. It's there are lives that are dependent on a ReShell and a Tracy and so many others that are um, just giving information and sharing with the public what they need to know in order to thrive and survive. And, through any cancer journey, breast cancer, colon cancer, any kind of cancer. So I'm just grateful to have this opportunity.
I totally agree with you. If you know Tracy, you would know that she's been through cancer once. And if you don't know Tracy, you would know that this is her to share with us that she is actually going through a second journey. And so I just wanted to just jump right into the conversation, Tracy, so that we could get all the information and that we want individuals to walk away with so they can feel empowered.
Yes. So
Which,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I cut
No,
you
go
off.
ahead.
I'm just so excited. I love God. I just love how intentional He is. 10 years ago, He allowed me to celebrate. Well, not 10 years ago, 4 years ago, He allowed me to celebrate my 10-year anniversary as a breast cancer survivor on October the 19th, which was actually our book launch. I was been favored to co-author a book with Lady ReShell and some amazing women. And so now 4 years later, I'm celebrating 14 years breast cancer free in my right breast, only to find out just a couple of, well, maybe a month and a half ago, that I've been diagnosed with breast cancer in my left breast, guys. But the fortunate thing is, I would say, in that is that um, they found it early, and I'm grateful for that. And so so far, I won't have to have the type of treatment that I had to have with the first situation with my breast. And hopefully, as God's willing, you know, I won't have to go through that. So we'll stay in prayer about that. But what I really wanted to share with you guys today was how it came about, how I found out that I even had um, the cancer in my left breast. And Michelle, please feel free to, jump in anytime if you have any questions. So I do my annual. You guys know that as breast cancer survivors, we go every year to get our annual screenings. And I went and had my screening done. And but prior to that, I had experienced a pain under in the pit of my, not actually in the pit of my arm, but it was in that area, somewhere in that area in my arm. It was profound enough to let me know that something was going on. I didn't know exactly what it was, and I wanted to bring that attention to the doctor. So when I go to get my screening, guys, I go in for my mammogram, and they did both breasts, everything. They saw nothing. There was nothing. They saw nothing. And the Holy Spirit prompted me to remind me to let them know about the pain that I had experienced. And so I said, oh, and by the way, I had this pain, underneath my arm, in the pit of my arm. And that's what prompted them to do a more extensive screening. So that led to an ultrasound. And so when they called me in to do the ultrasound, they went all underneath my armpit to see if there was anything going on with my lymph nodes. And they said, everything looked good. Nothing was going on with my lymph nodes. Everything looked normal, no swelling or anything out of the ordinary. But the young lady went down the side of my left breast, and there it was. Yes, that was the beginning of the nightmare.
So what
So,
was your, oh, I'm sorry, Tracy, what was your initial reaction upon learning about the second diagnosis?
it was like, because of our history, it's like, I'm not we don't be I'm not I wouldn't be surprised at anything, you know what I'm saying? And so I was I was more relieved to know that they had found it, because initially, Michelle, I was going to be putting on my clothes and going home, believing that I was in good health and that there wasn't anything going on with my breast initially. So had they not found it, only God knows what could happen and what would be happening to me this time next year. So I was relieved. I kind of had a feeling anyways, because you kind of know your body. You kind of, we don't want to diagnose ourselves with things. And we don't want every time we have a pain or, a discomfort in our body that it is something wrong. But you kind of know. And I kind of had a strange feeling with the breast anyway, because I've had issues with that particular breast down through the years. I've had 2 calcifications. When I was 25 years old, I actually had a cyst that was in my breast that actually came out through my nipple, and that's when I had my first ever mammogram. And at that time, I was told that I was lactating. My milk dugs was producing milk or whatever, but everything was fine. And with the 2 calcifications, which was like a scare, of course, and it came back negative. And so this time I didn't want to assume I just wanted to know. So it's all about knowledge. It's not about, you don't have time to be afraid and all that other stuff. Well, I didn't have time to be afraid. I just need to know. So I need to know what's going on so I'll know what it is that I need to do.
Yeah,
So
do it afraid.
I was very calm. I was very calm. I was more concerned about my family and friends and how they would take the news than for myself. That's what I was more concerned.
That was one of my questions to you, was how did your support system and your friends, how did they respond to it, or how are they responding to the news?
It was, well, I would say, any type of, medical diagnosis such as that, can be a damper on, the family. Everybody have their own emotions. Everybody deal with their issues, differently. But it was strenuous for me because we were already dealing with my sister transitioning from a breast cancer diagnosis. And so to spring like more on them and what we were already going through, but I had to be transparent, and I had to be, I didn't want to cheat them either. So I just went on and told them, and everybody seemed to take it, pretty well. But I kind of, you know, spoon fed them a little bit at a time, like, we don't know. We're gonna go find out. We don't want to jump to conclusions. We don't want to say everything is okay. We don't want to say, oh, it's the worst. We need to find out. And we went through the steps, because I had a lot of steps in between that I had to deal with just to get to where I am right now with, what the next step is going to be, treatment, or whether it's going to, what the surgery and blah, 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 and all in between. So it's been a very traumatic experience, but God has given us grace and strength to get through it.
Well, how has the second diagnosis affect your emotional and your well-being compared to the first time?
I feel more prepared, as far as the possibilities of what things could be, opposed to what they have been, and just not knowing there's this unknown thing. Because right now they say to me, oh, it's a stage 1. That's good. Clap, 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 clap. We caught it early. Beautiful. But then they say, well, the type of cancer that it is, we need to look a little bit closer, because it's a lobular. So all cancers, as we know, ReShell, are not the same. So the first cancer is not even the same cancer that it was in the right breast. It's a totally different cancer. So it's not a recurrence. It's a totally different cancer. The first diagnosis was an invasive ductal carcinoma. This cancer is invasive lobular carcinoma, which the difference is that the where the cancer is located now. The cancer is located now in the tissue, in the fatty tissue, whereas before it was located in the duct, which makes it easier for them to detect because it's localized. They can see it in the duct, but this is in the tissue. So they say, well, you know what? It's lobular, so we got to go take a closer look. We need to go and do an MRI to see if it has spread it. Although it was a stage 1, which was awesome. So if it's just that, then we'll just do a lumpectomy, and you'll have to get some. You'll need to decide whether or not you want radiation. But no, no chemo, as long as when we take you in, we don't see anything in your lymph nodes, for to have chemo. So okay. So that sounds good.
I'm glad you
that
explained
sound
it.
that was like, oh yeah, I can do
Yeah,
that.
I'm glad you broke it down, because many people think if you say breast cancer, they think, oh, it's just breast cancer, but they don't realize there's different subtypes of breast cancer that you can
Absolutely.
have. And like you said, some people may say, oh, Tracy, breast cancer, it came back. No, this is not a recurrence.
Oh,
This is
this
a
is not a
totally
recurrence. This is a
different.
total different
Yes,
cancer.
yes.
Nothing to do with the ductile. So here we are. So they say, well, so this is another. So I gotta go and get this MRI, of course. I get scheduled for the MRI, and after the biopsy, of course, finding out that the first area was malignant. And then they say, well, we want to take a closer look. So they go and they do an MRI, both breasts. The right breast is okay. Everything is fine in the right breast. Thank God. Hallelujah. But we did find more in your left breast. And so now I have two more things going on. I have another malignancy in the left breast. So that's two areas. And then the third area is very suspicious, with the potential of turning into something. So if the doctors are going to go in to remove any of it, then they would definitely want to take all three of those areas out. So of course I had to sit and listen to that.
It's a lot.
and and my family had to to listen to that. And so as a result of all of that, the recommended um, procedure is to just have the breast removed, because it would just be too much, because it's just not taking out the area. You got to take out margins, like a lot of margins, just affected that the cancer can affect. And three areas, and it's not so much as the area is not that big, but they're so far apart, and they were very, very deep into the tissue. So, but the good thing is, it's all a stage 1, so we can be prayerful that we won't have any lymph node, that are affected, and we'll just, it's one day at a time is what it is. It's just what it is. It's one day at a time, because we don't know.
Right. And we push early detection for a reason. You get in
Absolutely.
early, it's less treatment you have to do. You don't have to do some invasive treatment. If they can get you in there early,
Absolutely.
and this is why we push it. So it's important for you to get those mammograms annually, or when you feel something is not right, bring it to your doctor's attention and get it looked at, get it taken care of, get it ruled out, or whatever it is that they have to do. But we push getting in there early so that you can have options.
But now here's my beef, because I have one. I'm very, very, very livid. I'm not happy at all. So um, I know that there's a disparity within the Black and Brown communities. We all know that. At this point in my journey, from where I started, and it's 14 years later, so I've had a lot of time to do research, to understand, and to be involved in community service, whereas it relates to women's health and breast cancer particularly. I know that there is no reason, other than the fact that a woman won't go and have her breast exam, for a woman not to get a breast exam. There are there are organizations that offer free services, be it through the state or in your community. We know of several ourselves, don't we, ReShell? Breast
Equal
cancer
hope.
equal hope, not just for women, but also for men, because men are being diagnosed with breast cancer too. So we know we have women that are afraid, just don't want to go, whatever reason. We get that. And that has nothing to do with how much money you make or how educated you are. Because you have educated people that don't want to do nothing either. So, it has nothing to do with that. It's just the individual. But my problem with our black and in the black and brown community is we have dense breasts. Not all, but a lot of African American women, women of color have dense breasts. Now, we talk about, women that don't go, but there are a lot of women that do what they're told to do, they should do, and they're faithful about doing it. But we are not being examined thoroughly. And I am that example. I am grateful. See, let me explain something to you guys. God is intentional. He intentionally, and I never wanted to be a breast cancer advocate. I didn't even want to talk about breast cancer at all. But he's intentional. He allowed me to go through what I have gone through and what I'm going through for someone else. I went and I've gone every year to get my mammograms. I was there to get my mammogram. Had I not, and it was only by the mercy and the grace of God, had I not told those people that I had the pain under my arm, I would have been putting on my clothes, leaving that doctor's office, believing that everything was fine. Now so I can't think about myself anymore because I'm already been blessed. I can only think about all of the many women who have passed on, who don't even know that they have cancer, who have done all the right things and don't even know. And so how do we change that? How do we change that dynamic? How do we fix that? How do we get our healthcare professionals to understand that there is a difference? We are not all created equal. We are not the same. We are not the same. And we have to be dealt with and handled differently than our counterparts. Because you have women walking around here thinking that they're healthy and they have cancer growing in their bodies, in their breasts, that is spreading to other parts of their bodies, is causing metastatic cancer going on in there, and they don't even know it, ReShell. And so that is what my concern is right now. I'm gonna deal with me and what I have to deal with. That's automatic. That's gonna happen. But how are we gonna help the women of the future? How are we gonna help these women, all these women that have gone to get those mammograms and think that there's nothing going on when it actually is, because they weren't screened properly, because they didn't get they're in dense breasts such as my breast, and it again, it depends on the type of cancer. They were able to detect the ductal carcinoma in my dense breast because of where it was. It was in the duct. But with the lobula, they found one area, but they were not able to see the other two because it was so deep in the tissue. The only way they found it, ReShell, is they had to do the MRI. It was so intense that I couldn't even get a regular biopsy. Are you guys listening to me? I was put through a strenuous, and it was not nice. I had to go to the MRI department of radiology to have the biopsy done. They couldn't even locate it with the ultrasound. That's very deep. When you get in the ultrasound and the ultrasound can't even locate the cancer. I was put into a machine with those needles stuck into my breast in two areas so that they could take pictures to make sure that they were in the right location to extract the sample. That's
I
how.
remember, yeah, I remember that test. And I think people don't realize, they just think it's chemo, it's radiation, but it's so many other tests that we have to go through while they're in the process of diagnosing us, that is really, it's taxing and it's horrible on the body. But we go through it because we want to know. We want to know what we're working with so we can know how to fight this thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so again, I'm blessed that it's a stage 1. Thank God that it wasn't, I don't know how long it's been there, but thank God it wasn't a stage 3 or a stage 4. It already spread it outside of, whatever, and so it allows me to have more hope, for my future. And but it could have been so much worse. And so I'm just concerned. I'm concerned about women that are not being screened, thoroughly. That's where I'm really pushing for.
You're not by yourself, because Kenya is saying the same thing. I just want to acknowledge the people that are commenting, because they're commenting. Alfred Perry said he'll keep you lifted up in prayer. Please keep the faith during this time. Lisa said, praise God, it's a stage 1. She's praying daily for you, big sis. And Kenya mentioned something about, she said, she's irritated right now. How many other women were given a mammogram and it's ultrasound, but they did not detect that they had any problem? They didn't detect that at all. Sent them home.
That's what I would have been best, guys. I would have had my clothes on, gone home with my family. Everything is fine. There is nothing that now, and I'm grateful to God that, they found it, but I don't even know how long it's been there. And that's not one area in that left breast. There are 3 areas in the one breast. And I don't know how long it's been there. We were fortunate to get that one on the one side, to see it on the ultrasound where it was located, because it was right in this area. But the ones that were deep into my tissue, they couldn't see it. So it's something to really think about. And I'm saying this, and I'm not trying to put you should be afraid, because it's your life that you I mean, and that is if you want to live, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you want to be around, or at least if you want to know that you've done all that you can do, to be here for your family, your friends, or for whatever purpose that God has called for your life, you should want to know, and you should think very seriously about it, ladies, brown ladies. You guys should think very serious about when you go into your doctor's office and you're getting ready to have your breast examined. Don't be afraid to open up your mouth and say, you know what, I'd like to have an MRI. You got insurance to pay for it. They're not offering it.
And if you have dense breasts, they should be giving you an MRI.
Absolutely. And ask a lot of women, we how long we've been knowing about dense breasts? Not that long, ReShell. A lot of women don't even know what we're talking about dense breasts. What are dense breasts? All breasts all the same? No, they're not all the same. So you need to even find out, do you even have dense breasts?
Kenya says she's so sick of these 5-second doctor's appointments.
Yes. I understand, but that they gotta pay close attention to us, and if they won't, you gotta use your voice, and your voice gotta be heard. So.
So someone that wants to know what dense breast is.
So dense breast is, well, the understanding that I have, when the breasts are lumpy and it's a lot of fatty tissue. So it's fat. That's what it really is. But your breasts are lumpy, so you might oftentimes, I've experienced this. When we do our own self-exams, you feel like little lumps in your breast and things of that nature. It's kind of like, what is that? But it's lumpy, fatty. It's fatty tissue is what it is. Am I saying that correctly, ReShell?
It looks like cotton on the mammogram. It looks, so when you look at it, and the breast cancer looks similar. So when you look at the dense breast on the mammogram, you can't tell the cancer from the fatty tissue because it looks the same. So that's why you have to get a MRI versus the regular mammogram.
I mean, and a good start, is with the ultrasound. It's a good start. But MRI would definitely make your worries and concerns go away, because it's going to show more. And so why just skip over and skip the ultrasound, just go ahead and get the MRI and say you save you some time, could save your life, because that's where you're really going to find it. So like I said, I wouldn't have even known. That's scary. That's more scary to me than them telling me that that I had a malignancy. To think that I would be walking around for a whole year,
Right.
Just to even go back and maybe not even know then. Like, how many years that could have gone on for years. I still don't know how long was it there last year and they missed it. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how long it's been there.
Exactly.
Already from the beginning. So I'm blessed. I'm grateful to God.
So I just want to show everybody what dense breasts look like. I hope that you guys can see this here. So this is what it would look like a person that doesn't have dense breasts, but this is what it would look like with dense breasts. So you can barely see through the breast to see anything that's in the breast. It looks cloudy.
Wow.
And it says it's most likely to affect younger women, women who are pregnant, breastfeeding, you're taking hormones, or sometimes you have a lower body weight. So this is how the breast will look when it's dense. It's gonna look really cloudy because of the fatty tissue.
And if you don't know if you have dense breasts, because you can ask them to test you when they do your mammogram. They can tell you from the way your breast appears on the film whether or not your breasts are dense or not. So that's a good question to ask. That's a start.
Yes. Angela said it's a blessing that they found it early.
Yes, God is good.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited.
She said we're going to keep praying for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. I really appreciate it.
And then Kenya said, you are definitely your first advocate. Speak up and speak loud.
Yes, you got to stand on it, and you have to let them hear your voice. I mean, if it's at, if they can't hear you at a low tone, you may have to elevate. Elevate and ask all the questions that you need, because it's your life. Your life depends on that.
Yes. Kenya says, because a lot of times they don't want to give you an MRI without a so-called going through the procedure, which is giving you a mammogram first and then the ultrasound and then the MRI. So they want to go through all those steps.
And then that's fine. Okay, let's go through the steps. But at the end result, it should be resulting in you having an MRI. Okay, let's do the mammogram first. Let's go do the ultrasound. But I'm gonna need you to do this MRI. And don't let them talk you out of it.
You got to advocate. You got to push.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Here's the thing right here too. A lot of times, I'm kind of like a veteran at this whole breast cancer thing. So I'm pretty comfortable with going to the doctor by myself. I'm comfortable with going to get my MRIs. Going to get my biopsies by myself. But initially, y'all women, y'all ain't that brave. Y'all shouldn't even be going to the doctor by yourself. Hospitals, if you don't have an advocate, a family friend, or a relative or whatever, the hospitals have advocates. You need somebody there to be able to help you, to navigate you through all those different questions that you need to be asking, or what you think you don't even understand what you're actually hearing when you're receiving information from your healthcare providers. So don't try. I'm not saying you have to, but try your best not even to go to your appointments alone. Take somebody with you to help you.
Please don't.
Yeah, don't try not to go alone. I just don't want. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Kenya says, tell me if you had been previously diagnosed with any form of cancer, you should get an automatic MRI, get a mammogram. So instead, she said, if you've been diagnosed with cancer previously, they should be giving you automatically an MRI.
Yeah, and you need to know. You need to know that, because thank you, Kenya, because I didn't know that. this is the first year I've been a breast cancer survivor for 14 years. This come October 19th, and not until this year did I have an MRI for anything. Only thing I've ever had was a mammogram and an occasional ultrasound.
You didn't do it the first time around? You don't remember? You didn't do a MRI the first time around?
Nope. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So it's always just been a mammogram and an ultrasound.
I don't know why I mean, the mammogram is so basic. And it doesn't catch all cancers. We know it's not 100%. I don't know why that's the first main tool, and sometimes the only tool that they use on women.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
and you know, and you got, you know, we hear these stories, you know, and it's so sad, you know, it makes me cry. I still cry, you know, whatever. You know, we talk about, like I said, about the disparities. We talk about people in poor neighborhoods, but we have some prominent business women, very successful business women, that are not here with us. They're not here. And it's like a premature death. Like they shouldn't even have happened to them. Simply from what this conversation that we're having right now.
Kenya says she tells her doctor doesn't tell her because it's her life and not her doctor. So
absolutely.
Advocate for yourself. Speak up for yourself. You should come in there with questions, a list of things that you need your doctor to do for you. At my last annual, I was in there for an hour. I know the doctor was like, really? But she actually took the time and answered all my questions, all the tests that I told her that I wanted to take. She either gave it to me in the office or she gave me a referral. And I was so serious because I'm just like, my other doctor had left. So that was my first time being with her. You don't know me. So I kid you not, I was in there a whole hour asking questions and getting stuff done. Because
absolutely.
I'm gonna see you once a year. I need to get it in. No, you're not about to be with me 15 minutes.
Absolutely. And these conversations and these platforms are so important because they're so informative to, you know, we don't know who all is on this show today just listening in, who did not have a clue, you know, of what it is that we've discussed so far. And so it's important to have these conversations because you going to the doctor, sometimes you don't even know what you need to be asking them, you know. So get yourself an advocate. Yeah, hospitals have them. Get you an advocate and sit with someone and let them ask you questions. You ask them questions and just get a list of questions that you should be asking, because sometimes if you don't know, you just don't know. That's why we say knowledge is powerful, but applied knowledge is powerful. You can have all the knowledge in the world.
Say that again,
don't do nothing for you.
Yes.
So applied knowledge is powerful.
Yes. I love it. Kenya said it's so sad that you have to make up an excuse to get a mammogram instead of just being straightforward and tell them the reason why you want the mammogram.
Absolutely.
Why? She also said it's very disheartening that you have to lie to actually get the mammogram.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is your body. You get one body. And when you go in there advocating for yourself, a lot of times if you're younger, they may push back. They may push back and say, no, you don't need it for this reason or that reason. But if you know in your gut that you're going to feel peace by getting these things done, then get everything that you need done.
Absolutely. And not just, you know, because, you know, breast cancer and cervical cancer kind of go hand in hand. So, you know, just don't go in just focusing on your breast. You need a full, you know, examination. You need everything checked. You need to have your private areas checked as well as your breast.
Timothy say, hey, mama.
Hi, Tim. So, you know, ladies, just think very seriously about it, you know.
So, Tracy, have you made any lifestyle changes or adjustments based on your previous experience with cancer?
Not as much as I should. My diet has never been a horrible diet anyway, and I mean, I have made some moderate changes to my diet. I was at one point really being more active and exercising more, moving around more, but I've been in a bit of a funk, and I'm just being honest with you. And so I do need to get back on that because you got to stay mobile. The more you move, you burning off toxins as well as fat is. It's a lot of things that's going on with the body. I do drink. I've always loved water, but I make it a point to drink water. I do pay very close attention to how I break fast. A lot of times, when we say breakfast, when we break our fast with food and grease and bacon and eggs, and some people don't eat meat, but even whatever, I've learned that fruit toast is better than, you know, let's say fructose instead of fructose. So to wake up and to actually feed my body living food. So yes, I have paid very close attention.
What
Those things play a vital role in your overall well-being.
what kind of advice or message would you give to someone who may be facing a similar situation?
I would just say, have faith in God, do your part, and trust God um, to um, stay as positive as you can. Don't pray and worry, but just do your best. And I mean, I know everybody's not gonna go, public with what they're going through in their personal journey, but I have found that releasing releasing the so-called secret or whatever you want to call it has been a healing and has been healing in my process and in my journey. And so I find a way. I don't everybody want to go on a public platform like I'm doing today, but find a way to release, you know, those those stresses and those um the toxins, because it's toxic when you're holding anything inside that does not belong inside of you, whether it's in your thoughts or whether it's in your physical being, whatever it is. Find a way to release that. Release. Mm.
Totally agree. When you think about your legacy, Tracy, what do you hope? What do you hope to like leave through your message or your work that you want future generations to remember Tracy?
I just want people to remember me as being the woman that loved God and that love God's people and that try to spread the message of Jesus Christ and just giving back. That's it. I mean, I don't need to be famous, you know. I don't need to be famous. I just need to, to help people. If I can just help somebody along the way, then I know that my living is not in vain. And if I'm not doing that, it's like I'm not doing anything. If I'm not helping, even in my writing, in my lyrics of my songs, or my story that I've shared. I mean, those things can make you famous because if enough people know about you and enough people hear your music, like okay, you were once known by 1,000 people, now you're known by 1,000,000 people. You touch many people's lives, but I just want to leave a positive, something positive on the earth. Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about famous, if you don't know, Tracy has songs out. There's Goals for Me and The Time Is Now. So tell them, Tracy, how they can listen, download your music, support you.
Okay, so there is an app that, well, there's a site that you can go to hear The Time Is Now and For Me, and that is Tracy R. Kincaide. HereNow.com. My music is streaming on all major um, digital platforms. You can also hear my music on YouTube. Goals has not been released, but it is on my Tracy Kincaide YouTube channel. You can hear it. That was actually the first song that we put out with ReShell's for ReShell's book launch. So yes, Goals you can hear on YouTube. The Time Is Now, and For Me, you can hear them on any digital platform. You can go to my website, which is tracyrkincaide.com. And also, one other thing, you can hear For Me in 5 episodes that is now streaming on Tubi in an
Okay, hold on, because you're jumping into my next thing. Hold on. Okay. So I want you to finish this sentence for me, or this sentence I'm going to say. So it's a message, it's a movement, it's a mood. Come on, Tracy.
It's seasoned.
We're not getting old, but we are.
We are seasoned.
So tell them how you was getting ready to tell them how they can support you in watching episodes, the series of Season.
Okay, so Season is streaming on Tubi. You can also go to Vimeo on demand and get it. You can purchase it. Actually, you can rent it or purchase it on Vimeo on demand. You can go to Tubi, Apple TV, Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And watch Season.
Can you say, I'm telling you, we need to march on Washington. We do. We need to do it. They do it in May. In May, they go down for Lobby Day, and all of the breast cancer and cancer advocates are down there. So we can get together and get a team to go down there and spread the word about some issues.
We gotta get our women. We gotta get our women in for those MRIs, ReShell. We have to. We've got to fight for that. Because I can only think about what my life would be if I hadn't had that pain.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, Tracy, tell us what's next for you.
Oh my God. So I'm going to have this surgery eventually. I decided to do some reconstructive surgery. So I'm waiting for these surgeons to coordinate their schedules, and I need to do some healing. I'm looking forward to healing and getting back into doing some filming. I'm looking forward to having more of my music produced. I don't have a lot of events coming up, but guys, just so that you know, Lady ReShell's event is on September Lord help me God, October the 28th, and I am being honored, and so I would love to spend the afternoon with you guys. So I would, if you want to get your tickets, inbox me or just scan that barcode there. October the 28th, Survivor's Night of Reflection, but it's actually an afternoon of reflection. So yes, I would love for you guys to be there, and so that I'm so looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tracy. I appreciate you coming on, just sharing your wisdom, your experience, being vulnerable with the audience, and also creating hope. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. You guys make sure you follow Tracy.
Thanks for having me, ReShell.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Lisa. All right, you guys.
Thank you.
You guys, as I wrap up, thank you so much for tuning in to Warriors Talk, but don't go anywhere, because coming up at 7 p.m. is The People Show with Mark Wallace and Charles Thomas. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. Remember, the same God that made a way the last time is the same God that'll make a way this time. So join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. As always, Warriors Talk is changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.